Hey everybody, it's Joe the 3D printing professor, and I spent last week getting all of the physical rewards out for Cute Cthulhu and Friends. That includes all of the figurines, and for those who backed for the entire set, the mountain play set to put them all in and display them, and stickers and individual sets, and all of them are out. So if you were a backer of that Kickstarter, you should be receiving those in the mail this week. I've already heard that some people have gotten their stickers, which were shipped separately, and the toys will be coming soon. So that's awesome, and big ups to whoever is putting googly eyes all over the post office boxes in my area. I dig it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the reason why I ran Cute Cthulhu and Friends. There were a number of them, not the least of which being that I had a number of questions that I wanted the answers to, and I can now say that I have the answers to them. For those who are curious, those answers are yes, surprisingly little, yes, it can help, maybe, but not right now. Smaller is better, and it's not too bad provided their website isn't broken, but of course, their website was broken. So I hope that that helps some people. All right. Let's go back to the beginning. I want to talk a little bit about where this all started. For those who haven't already heard, and if you'd like, there's a longer version of the story in another video, but the short version of this is a little over a year ago, I had somebody look at a table full of printer blocks that I had laid out at the LA Maker Faire and ask me why I didn't work in toy design. And quite frankly, that lit a fire in me. I wanted to work in toy design. I wanted to be a toy designer. But when I started, I really didn't want to be doing the independent toy creator, going it alone, and hope that I could find a professional job in the toy industry right away. I thought, based on one person's response to my table full of printer blocks, that I could just stroll into Hasbro and demand a remote job on the spot. There may have been some unrealistic expectations at play there. Instead, I started to explore the independent toy designer route and just kind of decided to start this as a side hustle. And you know what? It actually isn't that bad now that I'm into it, and I'm having a lot of success in it. And I'm learning a lot from people in the toy industry, things that are shaping my path as I go forward. So really, it's been very good. And while this quest did start with printer block, as I looked into the logistics of manufacturing printer block sets, I realized that that might not have been the best place to start producing physical toys for sale. So I started to brainstorm other toy sets that I could sell, and I realized that I do have a series of toys that I really feel that if I did right could be successful, could be my magnum opus. And it's a world that I already have my finger on that I just need to develop. I'm talking, of course, about Chibimals, but not the way that they were presented a few years ago on Kickstarter. Shortly after the Chibimals Kickstarter, the world of Chibimals started to evolve in my mind. It grew legs, it grew a lore, it grew a whole story that I wanted to tell. And not just a few animal figures, but 8 seasons of themed worlds, toys, clamshell playsets, cartoons, and an ARG to drive engagement. It's gonna be a lot. And the thing is, I know that if I jump into it all at once, that I'm going to do some things wrong. I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to miss my chance. So instead, I decided to do something else and work my way up to the world of Chibimals step by step. Cute Cthulhu and Friends was the first step. The goal of this Kickstarter was to answer some logistical questions, and I wasn't really concerned whether Cute Cthulhu and Friends had viral demand. I mean, that would have been great, and it certainly still has the opportunity to do that. Now that the Kickstarter is over, my immediate goal is to set up my Etsy store to sell the extras and to create more sets for sale after this point. That is, more prints of the existing sets. Though the idea of making new series after this isn't entirely off the table. It's certainly an idea that I can keep developing. At the end of this Kickstarter, there was already a half a dozen ideas for new series, and maybe I can keep developing them outside of the Kickstarter, but only if that doesn't get in the way of what comes next. So for now, my immediate goal, set up the Etsy store, be selling all of the excess stickers and toys, and keep selling toys on there. Hopefully keep a rolling sales of those going. But what comes after that point? Well, maybe the next step forward starts with another step back. I'm not quite ready to jump into the world of Chibimals just yet. As much as I would like to, there's a number of questions that I still need answers to. For instance, how difficult is it going to be to design and manufacture interlocking clamshell playsets like I want to do for it? How is everything going to fit into those little clamshell playsets? The logistics of putting the toys that I want in that space, and what about making cartoons for them? So instead of, again, jumping into Chibimals, I'm going to go back to another series that I did before. Welcome back to Lopolysaur Park. Except maybe not low poly. Maybe I'll do them with a little bit more detail this time. I don't know. Let me know if low poly is actually that important. But for the most part, the goal here is to take those dinosaurs and make 4 to 7 interconnecting clamshell playsets with around a central hub, and the basic idea is going to be that Lopolysaur Park is made possible by time travel. Gates lead into the various different ages of the dinosaurs. That's why we got all the different dinosaurs interacting with each other. And there will be a guide with a fedora who's going to be out there and adventuring, and there's going to be people who are on tour there, so we're going to add little people into the sets. It's going to be a lot of fun. Actually at this point my head starts coming up with like a story of, well, if they've got time travel, and since we don't want to like butterfly effect our entire civilization out of existence because we're playing with dinosaurs, they must have some sort of like temporal lock system. And if we got a temporal lock system for the dinosaurs, maybe we could just put it on the guests. That way, no matter what happens, we can just flip a switch and everybody's fine at the end of it. And maybe Lopolysaur Park from time to time like simulates total system failure so that people can have this wild adventure with dinosaurs chasing them around and get to the switch and it'll be okay. As the adventure gets pulled away and stuff like that, and people are panicking, and then they get to it and they survive and everything's fine and everybody's like, yeah, okay, and they go home just fine. Or maybe they don't all make it and then the switch resets itself after 100 years or something like that. But either way, it's a bit like Jumanji, but corporatized and with dinosaurs. Or as somebody on my Discord said, it's a little bit like Westworld, but with easier cleanup and less chance of permanent death. Sorry, that was my crazy head aside. I'm back now. But I do want to know what you guys think of this idea. Is this something that you'd like to support? If I came out with a Kickstarter later on in the year, would you guys be willing to back it? And does this sound cool? Let me know in the comments what you think. Yes. I'm definitely not done with YouTube. It would be silly for me to quit, especially when I have all this recording equipment set up. But it is going to, working on toys, take some of my time away from doing YouTube videos. But there's still a lot of YouTube videos that I want to do, not the least of which a return to the basics, getting beginners back into 3D printing, because I still get questions once in a while about those sort of things, and I think that there needs to be some videos to answer those. So I'm definitely not done with YouTube. But for now, I've got a lot of stuff to work on, and I want to thank everybody who backed the Cute Cthulhu and Friends Kickstarter, made that successful. You guys you guys enabled me to do some very cool things and started me on a very cool path that I hope one day will end in awesome toys and fame and riches, or at least just some awesome toys. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you guys are too. But as always, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I want to remind you that you are a child of God, so you're special to me. So take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else too. I'll see you next time.